NNF After Dark is brought to you by Sandpiper Vacations. For all of your vacation planning needs, visit www.sandpipervacations.com. Tell them that the No New Friends podcast sent you.
Welcome to NNF After Dark. Chris is going to take you through the highlights of the previous episode and maybe even say some bad words, plus celebrity interviews and much, much more. And now, here he is, the scumbag reselling hoarder himself, Chris Yob.
Welcome to the last ever episode of the weekly edition of No New Friends After Dark. Why do I say that? Because it's not going to be weekly anymore. It's going to be bi-weekly. Just like myself, this episode is going to be bi-weekly. And, I'm not going to even tiptoe around this. Me and Scott had a long conversation the other day. It was a lot of yelling. And Scott will now be the host of No New Friends After Dark. Now, I say this in 100% as a joke. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this before we do our... I'm not even going to, talk about what we're going to do for the rest of the episode because it's not my job anymore. But I do want to talk about... Me and Scott were talking on the phone the other day, and we're like... And we got to pass the torch. It's time. Things get stale. Things get old. And at the end of the day, I am not a host of anything. I'm not even the host of my own household. So Scott is just a natural host, and we're going to, we want to put out the best product we can for you guys. And for a while, that was me being the host of this show. And for a while, I mean, probably the first 7 episodes. And it just got stale. It was when we started No New Friends After Dark, it turned into something that none of us ever planned for it to be in the best way possible. And then it turned out to be exactly what we knew we were capable of, which was me being a horrible, horrible host, which is really funny for like a few episodes, and then it just gets stale. So we're going to kick this over to Scott now. I'm going to pass him the torch. I do have to submit my raise in pay that I was so graciously accepting from Scott. As a co-host, we do get paid the almost the same amount as women, which is disgusting. And I'm just kidding. We get paid a little bit more if you're a guy. But yeah, so Scott's gonna be the host of this thing now. I'm not going to say much more. I do want to drag this on just a little bit longer because this is the last intro you will ever hear from me on a bi-weekly basis. But yeah, no, seriously, me and Scott had a conversation about this, and like Scott's like, I hope you don't take offense to this. Like, and me and Scott are really like on the same playing field. Like, we just don't give a shit about any of this stuff. No, we hate this thing.
What?
We hate this podcast. Oh, you don't.
No, I eat, breathe, and live this thing.
Wow.
I wake up thinking about what can we do next, and go to sleep thinking about, okay, what can we do better?
Yeah, no, I'm totally kidding. No, it's we both are on the same playing field. As like, we just want to put out the best possible product for you guys. And for a while, like, it was fun being the host, and I learned a lot along the way. Like, there was some of those really serious episodes where I think that I did really well. There were some of those other episodes that I think I did really well, but that's because I was blackout drunk. I have no idea what I said. Never wanted to hear that again. It was just, it's for the betterment of the podcast. We want to give you guys the best product and the most entertaining product. And that's with me speaking a little less.
Well, it's not about you speaking a little bit less. Look, what we've both come to realize, and first of all, you have done a hell of a job hosting the show, especially some of the serious episodes. I mean, they moved me hearing it the first time. I'm
definitely proud of some of it. Yeah, definitely proud of some of those.
And you should be.
The Tanya Gilbert episode, especially.
Tanya Gilbert was great. I think the way that you handled the Pulse episode was fantastic. And, I think what we both realized is look, this was, I'm so glad we did that, because at the end of the day, you're going to be a better broadcaster as a result of
doing the hosting. It's definitely made me, more familiar with, like, if you miss a week, which will never happen, I'll be able to fill in. You know what? I measure my success on those series episodes with my restraint of telling jokes. And like, you know, it's hard, Scott. It's hard to not tell a joke even in your darkest hours.
Yeah.
And I didn't. And I think that was really good of me.
Yep. But with that being said, I think we both realize that, you know, aces in their places. Let's to put out the best content possible, we need to make sure that all the talent is in the right place. It makes more sense for me to be the straight man and you and Nick to be the gay man. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, the co-hosts, the comedians, the drop in with the jokes. Yeah. And
culturally,
that's when we're at our best, is when we are
100%.
We have put ourselves into situations to shine. And you know, the one thing I felt bad at when we were talking about this is I was like, you know, I'm not trying to steal any spotlight from you. That's not what I'm trying to do. If anything, I think it will showcase you better, because that's all I want to do is showcase, you know, you and Sarah and Nick and Mary when she's there. I want to pass the ball. I want to be the assist man. I want to have the NBA record for assists, not points.
Well, and there's no denying that you're the best host on this podcast. That's what you do. That is what you do. Whether it's this podcast, whether it's the 45 other podcasts that you've been recording or tried to record, or, you know, you're just a good ass host. And and there's no denying that. And I think I'm a really good co-host. Like, I think I'm better at the co-host position than, so it was kind of fun with After Dark to switch roles for a little bit. Maybe we'll do it again in like 3 or 4 more years.
Well, I think, you know, depending on the week and the subject matter, maybe we switch it up. I think you handle the serious episodes extremely well, and maybe that's what we do. You know, we'll see kind of the evolution of After Dark and see what happens. We'll see if it even stays around. You know, I don't know. It's podcast. The future's unwritten. We don't know.
After Dark to me was like Gotham Comedy Club in New York. It's like you have these comedians that go to these small comedy clubs and practice their material. It was like I got to showcase and practice stuff that I wasn't comfortable with. Maybe this lands, maybe this doesn't. It will only be online forever. So what is there to lose?
Yeah. Well, with that being said, I'm Scott, the host of the No New Friends podcast. With me this week, the scumbag reselling hoarder himself, Chris. Welcome to After Dark. We are peeling back the onion, the parfait, the cream pie, anything that has layers, we're peeling it back, of life. And the good, the bad, and the funny. And this week, this is episode 201. We are going to be doing the episode 150 through 200, a retrospective, if you will. I don't have any funny clips. I don't have anything like prepared. So it's not going to be like, remember episode 30 history time that we did? That was like, that was our first like really long episode, 4 segments long.
Yeah. Like, we won't have any clips. We will be reenacting a clip from every single episode.
That would be, but as Muppets, we're going to reenact it as Muppets.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, Bert, where'd your pants go?
All right, so episode 151. Now, obviously, episode 150, we had James Yon on. It was sex in a chef coat.
Always good.
Always a good time when James Yon is on. So we had house hunting misadventures, and I'll read the description real quick.
Oh my gosh!
And this is one of those episode descriptions that I pulled a page out of Remy's playbook and I used ChatGPT to come up with the description. So in this engaging episode, join hosts Chris, Scott, and Nick as they discuss the impact of special guest James Yon on their podcast and how his influence played a pivotal role in its creation. In segment 1, the hosts recap their memorable guest appearance with James Yon, sharing anecdotes and highlights from the episode that led to the podcast's success. Segment 2 takes a humorous turn as Chris shares his house hunting journeys, revealing that despite putting in an offer, it was unfortunately not accepted. This unexpected turn of events sends Chris spiraling, and the hosts delve into the comedic side of his misfortunes. Scott Summaries, a hilarious segment where Scott creatively summarizes situations, provides some lighthearted fun at Chris's expense. Join Chris, Scott, and Nick in this episode filled with laughter, reflections, and humorous twists as they explore the influence of James Yon and delve into Chris's house hunting misadventures. It's a delightful conversation that showcases the ups and downs of podcasting and the quirks of everyday life. Hashtag house hunting, hashtag real estate, hashtag bad offer, hashtag podcasting influence,
Bad offer.
hashtag podcast humor.
I want to know the person searching hashtag bad offer and like what they're actually looking for.
You know what it is? I don't know how hashtags work. That's what the problem
obviously,
is.
Obviously. You know what's cool about going back and looking at these, just you and I, is I don't know if I ever realized this, but like this podcast is kind of a time capsule of our lives.
Isn't it?
What's going on?
I know. It really is.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like I am, I am now. I just had my housewarming party a couple days ago, which an announcement of a child on the way. And it's like back then, I'm still living, in an apartment attached to my parents' house, and looking for a house. Which let's talk a little bit about the house hunting process and how much content it added to the show. That was a really fun time for the podcast, not for myself, but like really.
That was a really fun time. Yeah.
Yeah. That was like, I could come on and just, instead of crying, I just come on and laugh about it a little bit.
You know what's so funny, and we'll get to this as we're moving along. It seems like a lot of our running storylines and our running jokes are at your expense because the Achilles thing went on forever. And it's still going. But what sucks for me as a friend is I know that we are like laughing at your misfortunes and keeping it real and poking fun at it, fun of it. As a content creator, I fucking love when this happens. It's like,
oh, I know.
When you call me and you're like, oh, something just terrible happened. I'm like, let me get my notepad real quick.
Oh yeah.
So I'm torn between I want to be the good friend, but also this is going to make some great content.
Yeah, it's like I unfortunate things happen, and I'll tell you what, After Dark gave me a really good, even the main episodes, but After Dark gave me a good outlet too. It just double the time I get to talk about this stuff. Is I love talking about stuff that makes me sad. I love talking about my anxiety. I love talking about my misfortune in house hunting, because it's just like, you have to laugh at this stuff. And we talked about this on the previous episode, is like the celebrity deaths. Why do we do it? It's because you have to laugh at this stuff, because it's incredibly sad. Like, it is incredibly sad. And it is so easy to be sad at putting in an offer on your dream home and getting rejected. It's very easy to get sad about that. A lot harder to make jokes about it. And I love challenging myself to find the bright side of depression.
Right. But there have been some things that we've had to discuss off air where it's like, let's not talk about this, or please don't bring this up. And I definitely, and I'm not going to bring it up, but I definitely remember one in particular was like, man, I've got to really remind myself not to bring this up.
There's stuff that happens that's just like, it's too personal and too sad to joke about on the podcast. And that it's happened a few times. Yeah. And it's like, let's just not talk. Listen, just a heads up, don't talk about this. Yeah. And we all respect each other.
But misfortune times time equals comedy. So we'll get there at some point.
Everything else is on the table. Yeah. Like literally everything else except for maybe once in a while. Like, hey, let's just not talk about this. Is on the table for sure. Now we're taking a very long time talking about one
episode of After Dark.
So as the not host, I'm gonna push this along.
Yeah. So episode 152, and that 151 was an After Dark. So the odd numbers are After Darks. The even numbers are
just say After Dark when it comes up. Just say main episode and side episode.
So again, this is another ChatGPT episode description. This is Mother's Day mishaps and snack moms. So I'm not going to read the description, but I definitely had a misstep in a Mother's Day present, getting my wife the Snack Mom shirt.
The keychain. Oh, Snack Mom. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
the keychain was like an anniversary or something.
Yeah. You had the more home buying adventure.
Yeah. What was this date? What was the date of this?
The date, this release date originally aired on May 21st.
Okay.
So
June 10th was the day we got the answer on the house.
We talked about trigger words in the relationships. So like, fine.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Mother's Day, along with every other holiday episodes, are always a fun one because it gives us like some like fluff content,
yes,
if you will.
Yes.
And you know what? Fluff content is nice for a couple things, because for a couple reasons, because it's fills up the episode with fluff, but it also like you could take it a bunch of different ways. A bunch of and pulling back the curtain, there's a lot of exaggeration on this show. So do these things actually happen? Do they happen to an extent? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I very rarely outwardly like just lie about things. Do you ever just like outwardly just lie about something that's happened? I think I might be done that a couple times. I wish I did more. I honestly wish I did more.
Yeah, no, I have for sure.
But they're rooted in something,
they are rooted
right?
They are rooted in truth, where I'm telling a story and I can't remember an exact example right now, but I remember that the lie was a better punchline to the story.
Oh, sure.
So
yeah, you have. Yeah,
it wasn't an exaggeration. It was a blatant, this is what I did. And it was, what it was when the situation was happening, I was like, man, I really wish I would have had the balls to do it this way, because it would have made for better content. I'm like, I'll just tell the story this way. It's fine.
Right. Because no one's ever going to know.
Right.
And it's all for content. I'm trying to be better at just lying completely about things going on. I often wonder, like, why don't I just like lie about something? And it's because we have way too much to talk about our real lives. That it's like, there's not a lot of room to just make stuff up on this podcast.
No. Okay. What was one huge exaggeration that you've told?
Oh, it's a lot of, so I can't pinpoint anything specifically, honestly, like, hand to God, honestly, but a lot of my stories with Emily, I know I exaggerate, and she'll come in and be like, "Oh, did you really think that? Or did you really?" And I'm like, no, it was for the. And then she's learned by now that's like she'll listen and she laughs at it.
Right.
Emily is such a good sport about the podcast. She's a huge supporter and listener of the podcast. She loves our podcast, and not even because I'm on it, because like she said that she genuinely enjoys listening to our podcast, which is a huge compliment. But like she'll stories that happen between me and her, I'll exaggerate things because I know that she, at this point she's in on it. Even when she wasn't in on it, I didn't care. I'd explain it to her later. You say something now and explain later, because she's a little behind on the podcast anyway. So I had a good month buffer. But yeah, I really think it's a lot of stories having to do with her. Like, and it's really sad because like the home buying process, our vacation to the like a lot of my like signature stories or whatever were all truth. Like there was really no room for exaggeration. What about you though? What was one thing? What was your biggest lie? Not even exaggeration, lie.
And I'm trying to come up with an example here. I think the big,
it's hard.
Okay, here's one. You guys always bust on me for, well, it's my wife's credit card. And the truth of the matter is the Amex Platinum is my credit card.
Well, you have talked about this because every time we say it, like, well, it's my credit card.
Well, no, but then you're like, well, yeah, just because you're an authorized user doesn't mean that. No, the really sad thing is before I took time off to be a broke, unemployed podcaster, I made the same amount as my wife. And
right.
And
yeah.
I had to for the betterment of my health and sanity, I had to leave that job because it was just such a toxic work environment. And now it's the jokes are real. My wife makes a hell of a lot more than I do, but that's by choice, not by Yeah, I think the biggest exaggeration on your end is that your competence. You're a very competent adult. Oh yeah,
there's a lot of mishaps along the way. that because you're a very competent adult, but your wife is competenter.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, we fit the stereotypes or the norms where it's like if the wife wasn't here, the house would crumble and fall.
Right.
Like, that's legit. Right. But I'm not as dumb as I sometimes make out to be. There's been times when you guys have said something and I knew what it meant, but I was like, wait, what? What's that mean? Just because I knew that it would be funnier if I denied knowing what you were talking about.
Right.
There's a lot of that. Okay. Something that most people would think are an exaggeration that you've said, but it's actually 100% true.
Ooh.
Because I've got a big one.
What do I exaggerate about? Maybe my height? Like, I'm not that short.
No, you're not that short.
Like, I'm short, but I'm not like a midget.
I always wonder about the gambling addiction. I always wonder how much truth is in that.
Yeah, so the gambling addiction is rooted in truth, but not like I'm not like getting off this podcast and gambling and playing the slots. It's rooted in, and it's like, you ask a lot of my friends, we're all in the same boat. It's like some of these stories and so like the Eagles go down, so I put money on them, right? And then they go down even more, and I put even more money. Like that happened. It was the season opener against the Washington Redskins at the time, a couple years ago. Like, stuff like that happened. Do I do it all the time? Absolutely not. And that's because I actually set gambling limits on my gambling accounts. Do I if I have a gambling
Alex,
limit
cut that
for like
out.
$50,
We can't have that out there.
if I have gambling limits on my account for $50, do I look for another one? Yeah, no, that's actually definitely happened. And then then I just said gambling limit. Like, it's definitely, like, listen, some of that stuff has happened, right? And me and all my friends where gambling is legal in New Jersey, it's all happened to us. And now I realize why it's illegal in most states. So is that an exaggeration? To an extent, for sure. Is it something that consumes my life? Absolutely not. But it's all rooted in truth.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so easy to joke about. And some of the best jokes are stuff that's rooted in truth. Like, I'm not a gambling addict. Do I love to gamble? Absolutely. But I'm not an addict for sure.
Okay. My biggest thing that people think is probably an exaggeration, but is 100% true, is the dog in the bed. That is 100% true.
Is that like more often than not?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes she'll jump off the bed, or if we're in our adult moment and she hasn't jumped onto the bed, she'll stay off the bed. But so we have a very strict no dogs on the furniture rule. Well, as soon as
unless you're having sex.
Yeah, as soon as we adopted Linda, like a month later, we found out she had cancer. So she had to go through all this round of chemo and all that. So she's like our miracle dog. And it's like, when she's on the bed and she, we're like, no, get off the bed. And she looks at us with this, well, I've got cancer. And again, like, when the mood strikes, I'm not going to call time out and potentially ruin the mood just to get the dog off the bed. Now, if the dog gets too close to me, I will push it. Like,
has the dog ever kissed you? Wow.
No.
Okay. I'm wondering how close
she doesn't get. That's the thing, is she will kind of move. She's like, okay, something's going on here. Mommy and daddy are wrestling. She'll move to the other side of the bed. Like, she doesn't really want to be dog. Right up.
Very respectful.
And really a lot of times it starts with the dog in the bed and then she jumps off the bed. If that, so
yeah, I
guess more times than not, she does jump off the bed, but there are some times when, she'll stay. And then when I said that the other dog will sit there and watch, that's true. And then the other dog will start humping a pillow is also true. Like, those are not exaggerations that I really wish were, and I really wish I wouldn't have started the subject. Okay, moving on to the next episode.
Well, real quick, Dane said, because I do want to talk about this just for a brief second, is the Achilles tendon injury exaggerated? I would almost argue that it's not even, like, I under exaggerate the Achilles tendon injury. It is, and I've talked about, to Scott and other people off air, that this is legitimately one of the worst things that's ever happened to me, and one of the hardest things. Like, to this day, I still can't walk correctly. I can't walk without pain, and it is honestly way worse than what I talk about on the podcast. Yeah. But like, I have to laugh about it on the podcast because I'm on here for a couple hours a night. Every other hour of the day where I'm awake is just dealing with this injury. It is under exaggerated, if anything.
Yeah.
And
we'll get to, as we get closer to the big blowout between you and Sarah, we'll talk more about that, because I definitely want to spend some time on that episode. So we'll zip through a couple of these. So episode 153, this was an After Dark, Under the Sea with Bad CGI. So this is when I really wanted to talk about, on After Dark, wanted to talk about the people who were boycotting this movie because of, having an African-American Little Mermaid. And
right. It was, I swear I'm not racist, but I really don't think the new Little Mermaid was good.
The episode fell flat a little bit to me. It wasn't one of our better ones. But I think we tried to make a serious episode into something that didn't need to. Like, that was like one of the forced, I think we're going to do this.
Forced serious episodes. Yes.
Yeah. And it was, we didn't know, okay, is this going to be a funny episode? Is it going to be a serious episode? Blah, blah, blah. I probably got too drunk. You definitely got too drunk.
Yes, for sure.
So then we'll move on to episode 154. This is one of my favorite episodes. This is your birthday episode. So, I remember that first segment, I couldn't breathe. My heart was racing, because that's when we had the birthday messages to you.
That was really nice. That was really, really nice. I wasn't not expecting that at all.
And I had so much fun putting those together, and especially the Bubba Job call that threw me through. I almost peed myself. That's why I couldn't. That segment came up. I couldn't breathe. My heart is racing. I thought I was going to die and not even be able to hit play on these messages, because I was just so excited for it. And especially Remy's lead in with the celebrity birthdays, which, peeling back the curtain, if you're not familiar with Remy's show, he used to do celebrity birthdays. I hated celebrity birthdays. And
everyone but Remy did.
Yeah. But I was the one who officially killed it when I was a co-host on that. When I was the dangerous co-host, I killed that segment. Thankfully. You're welcome, everybody. That was my one big contribution.
Anytime I hear Emily's voice on the podcast, is either extremely funny or extremely sentimental. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the more sentimental ones. That was the whole thing actually made me tear up.
Yeah, I have I love surprising people, and what's so funny is I'm really bad at it, because I have
you want to tell them.
What's that? I know. Other than,
because you want to tell people.
Exactly. Other than your birthday messages, I have shared with you every bit that I was going to pull before I pulled it. Peeling back the curtain, absolutely. Because the first time I did the Abby bit, you heard it.
Yes.
There's a lot of things where I'm like, I'm going to do this, but I can't tell you. I was shocked that I kept Brain Explosion trailer away from you, because I wanted to tell you so many times.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was very impressive.
But I had to tell someone, so Sophisticated Gentleman kind of helped me through that process. Okay, so then we've got Don't Lose Heart with Tanya Gilbert. One of our best After Dark episodes. This was...
Agreed.
Tanya Gilbert, who is trying to start up her non-for-profit with the dogs to rescue dogs to battered women. Just an amazing episode. You were so good, and we were still able to do Scott summaries at the end. So it was almost the perfect After Dark episode.
One of the only, if not the only, After Dark episode that I re-listened to in its entirety.
Yeah. And you were...
I don't like hearing myself host, and I was very proud of that. I remember I was in a Target parking lot listening to that.
Yeah, you were... That was so freaking good. It was a really, really good... You did such an amazing job with that episode.
I was actually very proud of that. I'm not proud of much, but I was very proud of that.
All right, episode 1...
A little less proud than my kid, but not by much.
Right. Episode 156, The World's Most Famous Urinal, Adulting at the Philadelphia Museum of Art. Another fun one. You gave us another update on your house buying mishaps. This episode originally aired on June 4th, 2023. And then Sophisticated Gentleman calls again and brings up that bastard Caillou. And we talked about Caillou for a while. Then
really, no, go ahead.
Then Chris, the uncultured swine, joins the Sophisticated Gentleman at the Philadelphia Museum of Art. Chris may have set off some alarms and created security chaos for him walking throughout the museum. Mary had yet another huge parenting fail. It's no wonder why her kids run wild on her.
Mary, what was that about?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. So pulling back the curtain on that, Sophisticated Gentleman wanted to know what I wanted. No, I actually wanted to know what he wanted to do in Philadelphia because I, live 15 minutes away. So I was like, "What do you want to do?" Is he go to the art museum? I was like, "Oh my gosh, what are we gonna do at the art museum?" Like, I've never been, never interested. Emily's asked me to go 100 times. I never went to go. Tell you what, it was so much fun. I loved it, especially the boob room. No, I'm kidding. That was so. So a couple exaggerations in that episode. We talked about going to the boob room like 10 times. It's because we were in such deep conversation that we circled through that floor like 10 times. We just kept passing through it. And the 10th time I was like, I don't know if we're like passing by this because we're talking so much or because we just are naturally attracted to this boob room. The alarm going off, totally real, totally happened. There was this like exhibit of like this little room and I'm pointing over, like pointing at something like any normal person would do. And yeah, alarms go off. And I kid you not, like I couldn't be phased less by this.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Ryan was going to kill me. I'm sorry. I thought Sophisticated Gentleman was going to kill me. He power walks away because didn't want to look suspicious by running. He power walks away from the place. And I'm like, I guess this is bad. Like, I guess I shouldn't be pointing at things. So, but yeah, so that the alarm actually happened, but did really have a really good time hanging out with him. It was really cool that he was in the area for sure.
All right, then episode 157. This is an After Dark, probably our most popular episode of After Dark. And it's Time to Come Out, Adulting Out of the Closet. This was Nick's,
great episode.
Yeah, Nick's coming out story. I thought he was amazing in that episode. I thought you were amazing. I thought just that whole episode was really, really good. All right. Deep throats and gifted balls. Adulting at a baseball game. This is when you stole the baseball away from the kid.
Oh, okay. I could talk a lot about exaggeration in this episode. Foul ball never came towards me, but I was at the game thinking of a hilarious scenario. And that came up. The whole homeless thing with the pizza. I gave the pizza to that homeless person, and I'll tell you what, that exaggeration, I actually felt bad about that. I told Emily, and she thought it was a horrible joke about me just like, nah, screw this guy, and keeping going with the pizza. I did give the pizza away to the homeless guy. I felt great about it. I did keep one for myself. I didn't give them both, but yeah. So like that was actually one time where I blatantly lied about the about what happened, but it was so good. That was a really good story that I fabricated.
Ryan says, deal with the damn cat.
Oh yeah, it's very
sorry. I don't know what
point. At this point, it's a lost cause. Maybe you just let it in.
I know, and then I do that, and he starts scratching to get out, and then he starts pulling up the carpet.
Maybe you just keep the door open.
Well, that's what I'm going to do. But the problem is Abby's room is like 5 feet away from. Anyway,
you couldn't have picked one of the other 7 rooms.
No, cats like to be on the other side of a closed door.
No, I mean for Abby to live in. You couldn't have picked.
No, that's always been her room.
Rooms. We'll pick a new one.
All right.
You have like 14 rooms.
That is true, but that's her room. Maybe I'll move.
Give her the bigger one.
Do you remember the episode that I had to sit on the floor in my loft? It was like one of your first episodes.
It was the second ever episode that I was on. Yeah. Yeah. I was like, what did I get myself into?
All right. The next one, episode 150. Oh,
that was the quote. That was the quote where he said, "This is the one that we're putting on Zoom instead of YouTube."
Yes. Yeah. Still haunts me. What is deep throats? Why did Mary said a lot about deep throats.
Real quick, Ryan did have a really good suggestion. Just show the cat the ashes of the other cat as a threat.
Oh God.
Dane goes, I live in one of those rooms. Abby can switch with me.
Sarah took an awkward fall at Universal Studios. Hail to the Chief Mary, who's medical president of the area. I don't know.
That was when Sarah fell onto her ex-boyfriend.
Yes, that's where the deep throats
really
came
fun.
from.
Really, really funny. Really funny.
Yep.
Little thing.
All right, moving on to episode 159. This is an After Dark, remembering the Pulse nightclub tragedy. That was
Yeah, was not looking forward to that one.
but I thought it was so well done.
but I was not like
complete different perspectives, and I loved how you brought it up, because it wasn't just this is our Pulse episode. You know, it was very, when we made that tie into the Moon Cricket Lounge. Now, here's the crazy thing, because I don't know if I've ever shared what did I do?
No, I'm just reading chat because Ryan's talking about the previous episode about Mary's no gag reflex.
That's
and he
right.
said, not that I've thought about that a few times since.
So do you remember my original idea for the Pulse episode?
Oh, I hated your original.
I know.
Idea. That was one of the only times I've ever told you no.
Yeah. So I pretty much wanted to kind of retell the story of what happened on that night, editing in like actual clips,
Sound effects.
kind of like the
Remy's Roundtable episode. Oh my god.
yeah, but a little bit more theatrical. Like it was going to be more documentary style.
You basically wanted to do Pulse Nightclub the musical,
Not the music. No, the music.
the play.
I wanted to do like
and you know what? And it was it was not the thought of it was not distasteful, but I just figured the execution would have been distasteful.
100%. And I'm glad that you guys talked me out of that. All right, episode 160. Okay, so this is the Father's Day episode. Because Michaela came on.
It was fun.
Yeah. We got our first Jimmy Carter update. Or no, we get another Jimmy Carter update. Chris has a house buying update. Our Lord and Savior Remy brings us an inspirational gospel according to Remy.
You're trying to figure Remy out.
Still. Yeah, I was trying to give him the bit. This is not the episode that I thought it was. So yeah, that was fun. Now, peeling back behind the curtain, we were supposed to record that week on a Wednesday. Darren was supposed to be on.
Right.
And my internet completely died. Died. They had to come out the next day, rewire everything and all that. And so Darren wasn't available the next day, but Michaela was, where she wasn't. Right. Because the idea was I was going to have both of them on. And it didn't.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I was going to have both of them come on. But yeah, that was fun. Episode 161, Daddy.
Real quick, Ryan says, I hope you guys get paid for me watching these ads. Subaru ad? Does Twitch think I'm a lesbian?
Episode 161, Daddy and Daddy get into a fight. Adulting during Pride. I don't remember, it wasn't a huge fight, but we got into a discussion about something.
Yeah, it was
whether or not things are getting better for the LGBTQ plus community.
Oh, that was a good episode.
Yeah,
it was a good episode.
Nick discusses being two dads of a daughter. Not much.
That's when he found out he was gay.
I think the coming out episode really helped out with that.
Yeah.
All right.
Coming in episode, actually. Never mind.
All right, so we're getting into episode 162. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, episodes 162 through 200, a retrospect. You're listening to No New Friends After Dark. We'll be right back.
There are 3 things that I hate in life: taxes, nausea, and booking vacations. The first 2 I'm stuck with, but for the third, I use Sandpiper Vacations. Sandpiper Vacations is a small business that is LGBTQ+ owned and operated with travel advisors all over the country. Whether it's a cruise, a trip to a theme park, or an all-inclusive resort, Sandpiper has you covered. Oh, and I forgot to mention, It's free. Why book a vacation when you can have someone else do it for you? That's like choosing to take the stairs in a building that has an elevator. Leave the headaches of booking a vacation to someone else. Get your quote today at www.sandpipervacations.com and tell them that the No New Friends podcast sent you.
Psst. Hey, you. You want to join a cult? Well, this might be your lucky day. For just $2 a month and a simple blood oath, you can join our clubhouse and become a friend with benefits. In addition to the amazing feeling of donating to the poor, you will have access to Patreon-exclusive content, live shows, and maybe even a behind-the-scenes look at my secret stash. To get started, head on over to NoNewFriendsPodcast.com and hit Join Our Clubhouse. Can't wait to see you at the initiation ceremony. Oh, and in the chat during our live shows, of course.
Man, I really hope you enjoyed those commercials. Now, if you didn't, that means you skipped through them because they're great commercials. We're going to give you a minute. Just hit that 30-second or 15-second rewind button, depending on which platform you're listening to. Some are 15, some are 30, some are 10. It's a crazy world out there. I'm not going to micromanage how many times you hit that button. Just go back and listen to the commercials. They're probably Sandpiper vacations, and they're probably Sarah talking about Patreon, or maybe this is a 3-segment show. We're not sure yet, so maybe you only have to go back and rewind one commercial. I don't know, but anyway, welcome back to No New Friends After Dark, episodes 150 through 200, a retrospective. This is episode 201, which means that this past Sunday was episode 200, a huge milestone for us. James Yon, my daddy, was on again, and it was a lot of fun. All right, episode 162. So you were in Germany when this episode when this episode released. And this is You're Gonna Need a Bigger Podcast, Adulting with Jaws. Now, this was a really fun best of where Sophisticated Gentlemen made a compilation of our greatest moments on other podcasts, which
I don't know how he did that.
Because he's got one of those photokinetic energy memory things, and
I think it's telekinesis.
Yeah. But he was able to even pull up a clip from when I was on Real Laughs.
It was ridiculous. It pissed me off because of how good
it was. So
how
good.
Well it was done. It made me physically actually angry.
It was so well done. It was so fun to relive a lot of those moments.
Absolutely.
Because there are some classic moments of us on other podcasts.
There are.
And then, of course, our interview with Carl Gottlieb, the screenwriter for the film Jaws. That was.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
That interview was a huge thrill for me. You know, I wish we could have interviewed him 10 years earlier when he was 10 years younger.
Yeah.
But man, again, that was just a huge thrill for me to do that interview.
Were we all there for that one?
We were all there for that one. You were there.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
Mary was there and Sarah was there. Was Nick? I think Nick was there.
Yeah, that was actually one of the few I think that Mary was able to make. She was able to shine during that interview.
Yes, she was. She's done great with interviews. Jeff Kaufman. That was a great one. Okay, then we have episode 163. Again, you weren't here for this one or when it released. But this is Making Out with Tanya Harding, Adulting with Grace and the Polar Express. So this is Eddie Deazen's episode.
Eddie Deazen, who we need to have back on the podcast.
We do.
The general consensus.
One of the funniest hosts we've ever had. Amazing guest. So funny. And then he waited to the end to tell us that he made out with Tanya Harding. And I'm like, should have led with that one. Yeah. But also shame on me for not doing more research.
Yeah, shame on you. Mary should have led that interview.
Okay, episode 164. So you were not here for this one either.
That was my Germany episode, right?
Yes.
I was in the motherland.
You were in the motherland. Game Master Ryan and Sophisticated Gentlemen were on this episode. So this is a rare Sarah Mary conversation. This
yeah,
is
very rare, actually.
Starbucks Lover. This is when we hear about the barista, and just such a funny episode. Yeah. And the subtitle on that is Adulting with Sex Toys and PetSmart, because there was obviously other conversations about.
I would hope so.
Yeah. Mary went to a moonshine of a wedding. We were talking about crazy ads on your social media, because I was getting weird ads on my social media.
Right.
All right. So that was episode 164. The door just swung open. There's no cat. There's nobody.
It's the ghost of your other cat.
Ooh. Wow. All right.
Happy Dia de los Muertos.
Turf war over poop, adulting in a water park. So this was an after dark. I don't think you were there for that. So did you miss 2 episodes?
Yeah, because it was the same day.
Yes. No,
that's how that works.
Yes, it is. So, but
an
actually,
hour ago,
it was
we were
4.
recording the Sunday episode.
It was 4 episodes that you missed, though. You missed 2 weeks because.
Did I miss 2 weeks?
Yeah, we played the Carl Gottlieb and Eddie Deason back to back.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is when we have the captain, Ryan Bathgate, on from Ashes to Awesome.
Oh, right.
Super interesting episode. And then Classic Ryan, he shared the story of having territory wars over poop at a water park.
Yeah, I don't think I ever listened to that one.
Oh, it's a really good one.
I think I fell asleep listening to it. That's when I listen to my podcast. That's the only time I have is when I go to bed. And it's usually consumed by Rummy's Roundtable.
All right. Uber for the win. Adulting in Germany. Okay. So this is an example of a story that I under exaggerate. So I talked about this fight and all that between
the funeral thing.
Yes. At the funeral and my father-in-law being a little bit extra. That story, I underplayed how bad it was and how much of a scene was caused. Just out of respect for my in-laws, I didn't want this to come out sounding terrible. I under-exaggerated the hell out of that story because it was really bad. Really, really bad.
But this was also another exaggeration on my end with the peeing at the Olympic Park. The peeing isn't even the word. It was like a full-on, just turning on the hose. I peed all over the Olympic Park. That was not an exaggeration. And you know what? It was funny was my the in-law. I was with my aunt and uncle, and my cousin, her wife, listens to the podcast, and totally forgetting because I didn't tell my aunt and uncle that I abandoned them to not take a picture but to actually pee. But I forgot that their daughter-in-law listens to the podcast. So
yeah.
It's
always funny when it's like, or when someone comes up to me at work and they'll reference something and I'm like, I didn't know you listened. Okay.
You have a little dog hair on your crotch there.
All right. Left of Straight, episode number 167.
Oh, that was one of my favorites.
That was a fun one.
Good. Scott Fullerton.
Yes.
So
super, super fun one.
Yeah.
All right. Episode 168, 8 Crazy Nights. Adulting with the J6 Prison Choir.
Oh man.
Okay.
The J6 Prison Choir was one of my favorite reoccurring jokes because of how ridiculous the J6 Prison Choir and the idea of them are.
Yeah. Peeling back behind the curtain. I thought this J6 bit was hilarious. I thought it was super funny. Yeah. I had people in my life not think that it was hilarious. And one of them texted me and I read the text on the air and didn't get permission from this person to share the text and was hot pissed off with me. Mostly because I read the text, but also was like, you're giving this group undue. The fact that you're playing the song means they're getting a play, means they're getting money off this. Like it's one thing to do things as a joke. It's another thing to draw attention to something that's like really terrible. So that was one of those things in my life where it was like, you know what? I should probably have conversations with people before I Yeah, I can't just assume that things that people say to me or text to me are free game on the podcast, you know?
No, but for the record, though, if you're just a random person on YouTube or commenting on the podcast, we don't care.
Yeah.
If you mean something to us, we will never talk about it again.
Right. So anyway, it was a super fun bit. But it, you know, it lived its lifespan. It was done. We didn't want to overdo with that.
I got the record. It doesn't play anymore. I've just played it so many times it's worn out. This is every morning I just stand there and salute for 45 minutes.
Yes.
While it's playing.
Show us episode 169. Show us your name, adulting with online dating. So again, we had sophisticated gentlemen
with SG,
on. Yep. It was all about online dating. Episode 170. Now, I believe that this is the one when I overplayed the Castellanos joke.
Yes. Okay.
Because it was after the 8 Crazy Nights. And when I apologized for all that.
Yeah.
By the way, how did you like Abby's segment tonight when she referenced
it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. A little depressing considering my Phillies got knocked out of the playoffs.
I know, I'm sorry.
Any reference to them is, just makes me want to drink a glass of bleach. But yeah, no, it was good.
Tell me you voted for Trump without telling me you voted for Trump. Drink a gallon of bleach. Okay.
You inject it.
So sorry. So moisturizing mishaps, adulting with a slippery shower.
Oh, that was a good one.
And a swollen face. Oh, that's when Mary had that swollen face.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
Look, I'm like Pixar, just naming the movie the plot title, or the movie title is the plot.
You listen.
I did. And I'm talking about his latest episode, his on Coco, with Sarah from the No New Friends podcast.
Oh, that's why. Yeah, he listened for Sarah, not for me.
Yes. Well, I listen if I know that No New Friends could get mentioned. But when you're there, you're not Chris from the No New Friends podcast. You're Chris from This Is. So,
yeah.
But that was a super fun one. I wish that was an exaggerated story, but it was not. Like, that happened. And as soon as that happened, I wanted to be super frustrated, except I was super grateful because I was like, well, I'm telling this story.
What are we talking about?
Moisturizing mishaps.
Oh, yeah.
That's when I used the KY.
That was the most believable thing. Like, you don't even have to say that wasn't exaggerated. Like, that was just implied.
Episode 171, Do the Gays Have Gills?
Oh, one of my
super
favorites.
Funny episode because we weren't even supposed to talk about that. That was supposed to be we were supposed to be discussing home ownership and vacations, but took a quick left turn because I started with if I could wish anything, if I had one wish, I'd wish that women could feel what it's like to get a blowjob, and that just took us down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, no. Definitely fun. I love saying the term "the gays," and now that I have a gay friend, I can say that.
Yeah. Episode 172. It's his house. You have to finish. Adulting with a ruptured Achilles. So this must be the first episode that you discussed it. July 30th is when that episode comes out.
Well, July 30th because I tore it July 22nd. Not that I remember the date.
Okay. So did the gays have gills? You didn't have the ruptured Achilles then, did you? And moisturizing mishaps? Doesn't matter.
I tore it the 22nd. When did that one come out?
Moisturizing mishaps came out on the 23rd. No, because we would have recorded it several days earlier.
Yeah.
So right. Adulting with a ruptured Achilles would have been the first episode that you recorded with the ruptured Achilles.
Yeah.
That was a super funny episode though, with it's his house you have to finish. That was with when you were in the basement or something with the whiskey with the Bob.
Oh, the bourbon, yeah. Yeah. Oh, good times. Yep. Yeah, good times.
Episode 173, After Dark, dripping with excitement. That's when we were talking about bad marketing on Disney, and then adulting with solicitors. Fun. And I believe that was. God, I don't remember the solicitation conversation. Nick has some gay movie suggestions for Chris while he's resting his boo-boo on his ankle.
Yeah, still haven't watched it. It's very homophobic.
Yeah, I don't remember the solicitors. Had to have been a story of yours. Oh no, it was the lawn care people that came out, and then the security lady.
Oh,
Those were really
yeah.
funny
That was when I first
stories.
got the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I forgot. Yeah. Yeah.
174. This was a super fun one. This is Shopping with Serendipity, Adulting with Enablers. And this was both Lewis and Sarah.
Oh, yeah. I
And-
wasn't on for that one.
Were you gone for that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we
I
talk
wasn't on
about
with it, no.
their spending habits.
Must have been in Alaska.
That's right. We talk about their spending habits. I had COVID and it was like,
Oh,
super
no.
loopy.
I wasn't in Alaska. I was on Oxycontin.
Oh, that's
oxycodone.
right.
And I produced the episode,
produced
but
the
I
episode,
did not. On Twitch anyway. And I was like very high on pain medicine for my surgery.
Yeah. Super fun episode. Like my mom texted me. She goes, that's one of my favorite episodes. She really, really liked
I fell asleep.
the
Well, because of the pain medicine.
Right. And Ryan did classic Ryan did Cliff Notes. Game Master Ryan.
Yes.
Super
Yes.
fun episode. Then 175, Nola Papa, Adulting with an Author. And super fun to
Yeah,
have
that was
him
that
on.
same night. Yeah.
Episode 176, Prevention Convention, Adulting with White Claw, Antidepressants, and Contraceptives. So this is when, I was really upset because my sister had her appendix burst or taken out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You had ruptured your Achilles and I had COVID. So it was all about everybody else and nothing about me.
Right. Yes, I do remember that.
So
you needed the antidepressants.
what's that?
So you needed the
Yeah.
antidepressants. That we talked about, yeah.
You updated us on the surgery.
Right. I'm still on the couch.
Yep. Mary was put in charge of the open house at her school. So spoiler alert, she may not, but this is the one when she found out what kids are doing under the bleachers.
Oh,
And I think that was one of our classic moments, maybe not a classic episode,
Absolutely.
classic moment.
recurring joke for sure.
Yep. Am I boring you?
No, I just had I have vicious yawns.
Ah.
They just come out of nowhere. They're vicious.
E-
I have vicious yawns and hiccups. I think it's a issue actually.
All right. Episode 177, Scamming Amazon. That's when you, Abdul.
Oh yeah.
Adulting with an
Abdul.
undescended testicle.
Oh, another classic.
So I definitely have told that story on After Dark.
Yes, you have.
Episode 178, Pyramid Schemes, Adulting with Amway, Perfume, and something else.
I
And
love a good pyramid scheme.
fruit juice.
Always fun to talk about pyramid schemes.
yeah. And that's also with the Adoption Connections.
Oh, that was a good
Yep.
one. Yeah, that was a good one.
All right. Episode 179, The Blind Side Truth, Adulting with Bad Transitions. So we talked a little bit about the blind side on that. That was one of those just we didn't know what we were going to talk about.
No, but it turned out to be okay.
Yep.
Always does, kind of.
I don't think you were here for this one. Hot Girls Have Stomach Problems, Adulting from Shutter Island.
No, this one I was not here.
Super
Yeah, I was in
funny.
Germany.
Super funny episode when we
Or
realized.
Alaska. I was in Alaska.
Yeah, when we realized
Yes,
Mary
it was.
may not actually be a medical professional. She may actually just be in the
Right.
mental hospital.
Yes.
That was a very, very funny episode.
yeah, I enjoyed listening to that one.
Episode 181, Bitchy the Clown. It's when Dave Shelton came on. That was a super fun episode.
Interesting fellow.
Very interesting.
Yeah, interesting fellow.
Yep. Episode 182, I guess you can say Eskimo. Adulting with the Muppets. That was our first and only recasting.
There's very few things that I love more than retelling vacation stories.
And you're so good at it. You're so good at it.
I love retelling vacation. I make the best vacation sound like the worst vacation. And that's my favorite thing about it.
183, The Man Behind the Magic, Adulting with Superbad. So that's when we had Steve Joyner on, and we got a special guest cameo
Wow, was that
from
long
Eddie
ago?
Deason. 183, a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
Yep. That was a fun one. That was definitely
That was
a fun one.
fun. Yeah. Yeah. Very unexpected. A lot of
Yep.
you'd have to be there.
184, Do It Yourself Medical Procedure, Adulting with a
Oh, that was a fun one. That was a fun
Yes.
story. I like that one. Yeah.
Adulting with a
Yeah,
quadruple
the
shot of
piercing
tequila.
story. That could be every episode.
Right. But that's when Game Master Ryan was in town and we got to hang out with him.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yep. And then Mary is starting to take this whole medical professional delusion just a bit too far as she performed her own at-home procedure.
Yeah.
And then this is when we talked about me buying the award for or buying the plaque.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to so bad, but just
It's
I also didn't.
Also very expensive. But this was also the
I printed
episode
out a picture of it. I took a picture of yours and I just printed it out.
when I told the story about how the Indiana Jones show got cut short.
that was a like you couldn't have even made that up. Like,
yeah.
That was perfect. Some stuff just happens for a reason.
Exactly. And that's the thing is any other time I would have been devastated, but because I was at that show with Ryan I was so excited about, it's going to be the perfect show. And then he goes, you were right. It was the perfect show. Of course that would have to happen. And I was so happy that it happened in the way that it happened. All right. 185. This is After Dark. Touch things with both hands. Adulting with superstitions.
Yeah. I'm still dreading Emily. I don't know if she's listened to that one yet. Because I really don't want her to know my secret about me touching things with two hands.
Yeah. 186. When does Sarah hurt her hand?
Who gives a shit?
186.
Trust me, I think you'll know.
I don't know because I'm not going into all of these. Anyway, bribing the geek squad, adulting with a love sack. So this is when they were installing my TV and I got
hanging the TV.
Yeah, I paid them to hang up another TV.
Yeah.
Mary had more parenting fails. This is I even put in the description, Travels and Tribulations, a much shorter one, because this is after the 7-minute one that he had done.
The infamous 7.5 minute long Travels and Tribulations.
Yes. And then he followed that with a 7-minute Jersey Man, Florida Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Text Me When You Land, Adulting with Anxiety.
That was one of my favorites.
This was a really good, this was just me and you.
I got a message from somebody saying how much they loved that episode, how it really got them in the feels.
I did as well. And it was just you and me. We just kind of threw it together. But it was what was so great about that episode is it was just us having a conversation.
Yeah.
No different than if I asked you about your anxiety on the phone.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That was one of my more prouder episodes, I would say. It was something that you need people to know on both ends of the spectrum. That was a really memorable one.
Yeah.
Definitely one that I think about.
100%. Episode 188, Bear Loose in the Magic Kingdom.
That was a fun
Adulting
one.
with an ear tattoo. So this was Nick's birthday episode.
Yep.
And then
that was cool to see Nick get all emotional with his birthday messages too. That was you did a really nice job with that.
Thank you.
You're scavenging of people. I don't know how you do it.
It's a gift and a curse. We told the story about Halloween Horror Nights. My daughter getting her 6'9" tattoo.
That's right. Yep. Her 6'9"
tattoo. So that was episode 188. I feel like we've got to be coming to so then we have Coast to Ghost tour. Nick recapped his vacation here to Orlando.
Always fun.
Yep. Episode 190, Sandwich Gate or Team Freakout. Oh, this is the one. Okay, Sandwich Gate or Team Freakout, number 190, Adulting with an Impaled Hand. So one of my favorite episodes of the 50 that we're discussing.
Absolutely.
So peeling back the curtain. I don't know. Maybe we should keep this one just about how much of that episode was actually pre-planned.
Well, that's the beauty thing about this podcast is that even when it's pre-planned, it's still unscripted. So, like, you told me about how you were going to make a big deal about her injury, which is obvious in the episode. But I didn't really plan on how I was going to react. I just kind of, I don't know. It was kind of like everything just fell into place really nice that episode.
Yeah.
Like, it was like you told me what was going to happen. Like, you were going to make a big deal out of it. And I didn't know if I was going to be on the side of I'm going to make a big deal out of it too or not. I just think everything turned out really well. But I think that's just working together for so long is just we know our place and we know what works best for the podcast. Right. And I think that's just like that was just one of those beautiful things coming to like we couldn't have planned that. You know what I mean? We couldn't have planned it any better than how it turned out.
What made that even more magical, if you will, because you took the direction that you chose, which, you know, I never tell you what direction to take. You know, it's okay. This is what I'm going to, and first of all, we very rarely discuss bits.
Ever. Yeah.
There are rare occasions when we do.
And that's not an exaggeration. Yeah.
And, but I never say, okay, I want you to play it this way. It's, and sometimes that works. Sometimes it doesn't. The whole, restaurant tip of the week, did not play the way that I wanted it to. So we ended it.
Yeah.
But in this case, I didn't tell you which way to take it. You took it the way that you took it, but Sarah's reaction to it was brilliant. That was a proud dad moment for me, where I'm seeing my two kids just perform chef's kiss beautifully.
Yeah, me and Sarah really bounced off each other really well that episode. I remember just like it was kind of like that, just like brother sister type bickering. It was just so good.
It was amazing. It was amazing. This is also when Nick was looking for some parenting advice. Because that was good. That was good. And we're all like I think he was hoping that one of us would say, no, it's fine, it's normal, and we're like, nope, team freak out.
And then everyone's like, yeah, no, we have no idea.
Going back real quick, so to Bear in the Magic Kingdom. So we make a reference a lot of times on this show, like, how did a bear get into the Magic Kingdom?
Yes, we did.
And I don't think we've ever explained that, but in the episode of Remy's Roundtable where they discussed the bear getting into the Magic Kingdom, he literally asked over and over and over again, guys, how did a bear get into the Magic Kingdom?
When he could have just read a news article and it explains step by step.
Right. We also now know visually, and if you want to watch us record these things, you know, you can watch us on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/NNF podcast. The chugging of Pepto-Bismol is not an exaggeration. That actually happens.
No, straight from the bottle.
From the bottle. Okay, then we've got time traveling podcaster.
Oh, man.
So wait, Sandwich Gator Team Freakout, that's also the when we talk about the 9/11 trigger warning thing, because there was so many great jokes.
Oh, yeah.
That came out of
Not
that.
about 9/11, about Remy.
Yeah. Yeah. So then episode 191, Time Traveling Podcaster, Adulting with a Sidekick. This is when we have our Lord and Savior, Lord Remy, come on. And super funny with the whole sidekick.
It was so good. And you know what? The episode was not going the direction where I think either one of us thought it would go. And so that's, you know, peeling back the curtain. So that's when I took it upon myself that, okay, this can't be going perfect because it's Remy. So so that's when he said he had the sidekick. I was like, there's got to be a hole in the story. And that's when I looked up when the sidekick came out, the cell phone, the sidekick. And it wasn't until like 3 years after the 9/11 attack. And then, he proceeded to say, no, he had the Motorola Razr, which again did not come out until like another year after. And it was that's the beauty of just Remy being on an episode is that even the things that sound perfect are far from it.
Right. Yeah, that saved that episode, that one little piece, because you're right, it wasn't, but you were so good at improving that interview as well. All right, then we have Butt Sore in Baltimore.
Remy just added in chat, my damn sidekick. Yes, your damn sidekick.
Butt Sore in Baltimore, episode 192, Adulting with Maya Hawke. So a couple things happened in this episode.
Yeah.
So this is the episode that Mary had missed the previous episode, and she went back and listened to episode 190.
Did kind of a Cliff Notes version.
Yeah, so she could kind of have her questions and all that. She was so good in that segment, so freaking good.
Yes.
Then we have Sarah talking about her.
I hope she's doing well.
Mary, yeah, me too. She's very sick. Sarah tells her story about meeting the Savannah girl. And some running jokes from that. Mm-hmm. Episode 193 was a very fun one as well. Theme park etiquette, adulting fueled by Bud Light and tequila.
Yeah, no, that was a fun one. It was fun talking about, because we all go to the theme parks. How do you act at the theme park?
Yep.
And what do we hate about going to the theme
Yep.
parks? Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yep.
We don't get to do a lot of theme park episodes
We don't.
per se, so it's always fun to throw them in every once in a while.
Yeah.
Because we all originate from a theme park podcast.
That's true. That's true. This was a fun one as well. Episode 194, Girl Math, Adulting While Spitting and Squirting. Not what you think. So I don't remember the spitting and squirting.
Yes, that was the Soda Stream.
Oh, yeah, the Soda Stream. That's right.
To kind of just pull it out of my ass.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we talked about the girl math, boy math, teacher math, gay math. That was super fun because Emily came on.
Emily came in, and she did really well. She hates talking in front of people like that, but she did really well. Like, it was really fun. She added a lot to that conversation. It was fun.
But then also, your dog gets into the turkey sausage.
My dog gets into the turkey sauce. Oh, live.
Yes.
Yeah, I forgot all about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the trash underneath the desk. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Super fun episode. I love that one. Okay, that was episode 1.
That was also the one where I called in as a Savannah girl, and you were very skeptical.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about that for a second. Okay, so I call Chris, and I'm like, "Hey, Chris, could you have Emily do like a Southern accent and call in as the Savannah girl?" And Chris says, "I got something better for you." Okay, so again, peeling back behind the curtain, believe it or not, I trust Chris 100% with content. We joke about him hosting that the episode before the Father's Day or his birthday episode, and then the drug list. Because those events were so bad, it's so great. And Chris hosting that episode was not what made it bad. It was the choice to play that improv game that made it bad. Yeah. So Chris doesn't tell me what he's going to do. Mm-mm. And I start hearing it. And I can feel my blood boiling. Like the steam is about to come out of I was like, this is not what I wanted. I hate this. I don't like it at all. You completely, and then the ending cuts off, or the ending happens where it cuts off and it's Chris's voice made that whole thing amazing. Because the thing is, he could have gone the direction that I was hoping for, and it would have been the same thing that we did with Mary's, with the barista. And you took it. And this is why I trust you. This is why I trust you with content, because I know you're going to make the right decision.
There's a couple different ways you can take this. So like having Emily doing the voiceover would have been funny because we're beating a dead horse. That's kind of what this podcast is funny with some of this stuff. It's just beating a dead horse, right? Or this podcast is also really good at doing stupid well. And I knew that it would be funny because of how horrible it was in the beginning. Like, this is obviously not this girl. This is obviously someone with a voice changer. But I sprinkled in the thing at the end of it cutting off and because you know what, at first I and this is my process behind it. Emily didn't feel comfortable calling in because whatever, and because she's not good at that kind of stuff. And so I remember that
Alex, cut that. Emily's not comfortable with that kind of stuff.
No, but she just doesn't feel like she's good at that kind of stuff either. Like, she doesn't have confidence in herself with like acting and this and that, not that she's not good at it. She just doesn't believe she is.
There you go.
But yes, thank you for, yes. So, thank you for that. So, I know I have software on my computer. I remember that this thing that I use to clear up my vocals when I'm on the podcast also does like AI voice changers. And the last time I did it, it was really good. So I start recording and it's horrible. I was like, this does not sound good at all. So that's where I pivoted to the me getting cut off at the end. It's like, oh, okay, it was bad on purpose. So yeah, it's like a lot of the things on this podcast, just like, and we talked about this on the Diz His podcast with the filming of the second Star Wars movie. Some things just fail perfectly. They're just happy mistakes.
Yep. I love those happy little mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 195. What's a Bussy? Adulting with Dixon Dallas. Super funny episode of After Dark.
Yeah. That was a good one.
We graduate to Gay 102 and we're learning more advanced gay terms. We also learn words that gays do not like. That was fun. And getting Alex, getting his perspective on editing the podcast was super fun.
One of my favorite After Darks in recent memory.
Yeah,
because Alex said he's coming on, and we weren't prepared to have him on. So that's when I kind of just pivoted, like, oh, it would be really fun to hear, like, what's it like editing our podcast?
Yep.
And he gave a really cool, funny insight on it for sure.
Yep. All right, we're in the home stretch here. Even my avatar can't get laid. Adulting with an AI girlfriend.
That was fun.
That was a lot of fun.
It was a fun conversation.
And Sarah and I went to Magic King or Animal Kingdom. Like in the last 10 to 15, maybe 20 episodes, in every episode description, Mary had a disaster of a day. Mary had a parenting fail. Mary had an adulting fail.
She was in that many episodes?
But this is the one when Dexter swallowed a magnet, which she hasn't been on since that episode because we haven't been able to get an update.
It's true.
Yeah. All right. So now we move on to episode 197, Black Lincoln Collective, Adulting with Appletinis. Super fun episode.
That was, you know what? I didn't know how that episode was going to go because that was one of the first, I'm trying to think. I think it was the first ever episode that I had to orchestrate, that I had to conduct, if you will, with strangers.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't an interview. It was more of just an episode with other people. And I thought it went so well. Those guys are just naturals. They were really, really fun.
They were great. They were so funny. All right. Episode 198, Urban Legends, Adulting with a Brain Explosion. So this is our most recent Sunday episode. The most recent one is the one that you just listened to, which was episode 200. This is this is our Halloween episode.
Yes, Halloween episode.
I thought it was a good one. I love the top 10 list. We're running out of ideas for top 10 list.
I know, as you can tell. Urban Legends was kind of fun. It wasn't great, but it was kind of fun. This
is one of these things where timing did not work with the podcasting gods did not work with timing because we had this whole brain explosion thing and it had to be done. Like we had to do it that week, but it was also the Halloween episode. So
right.
You know, it is it a Halloween episode? Is it a brain explosion episode? I don't know. It's just the timing did not smile on us for this one, but here we are. And, I was talking to a Sophisticated Gentleman about that. He's like, it doesn't really fit. Like the brain explosion joke doesn't really fit into my segment this week because it's the Halloween one, but we're going to figure it out somehow.
Yeah.
But still super fun.
Too good to not talk about. Had to be talked about.
Yep. And then another big milestone. This is again, a time capsule of our life. The baby announcement.
I actually played that for Emily the other day because she's not caught up with the episode, but she really wanted to hear the announcement. And a week from today, actually, I don't know why I'm talking about this on air, but just this is our life. A week from today, we get to do the second appointment with the doctor, and we'll get to see another ultrasound.
Yeah,
and we're doing the week by week, like looking at the pictures and stuff, what it'll look like, and it's not going to look like a little kidney bean anymore. It's going to look like an actual little baby, which is going to be really, really cool. I can't wait to talk about that. I'm not going to be able to talk about that until I'm trying to think. I think it's I think we go next Thursday, so I won't be able to talk about it till the following week. But I'm really excited to talk about that, and maybe we can talk about first appointment, seeing that that picture and stuff like that. That would be cool because we can all relate to that.
And then finally, episode 199, Diaper Rash, Adulting with Fatherly Advice. Super fun episode.
Didn't go the way that that either of us planned it to go in, but went fun. Went like really well. It was fun having just three dads on talking. Well, two dads and one prospective father talking about parenthood and potential parenthood. I again, just a little taste of what's to come. In the next year, 2 year, forever. Really, I mean, we're all in the same boat in different perspectives.
Yep. A couple follow-ups though. Did you ever ask Emily if you could joke about the mood swing?
Did we talk about that on the episode?
No, you said you were going to ask her if you could talk about the joke that you made about the mood swing. And I said, that's a terrible idea.
No, I didn't ask her. Figured I said the joke and figured I'd just deal with the repercussions, but I will ask her. I'll make a note of it.
You don't have to. All right. And then that's it. That's episodes 150 through 200, a retrospective. This was fun. This was a fun, like, trip down memory lane.
Yeah, it's like history time and After Dark, kind of a closing on those 50 episodes.
I wish we would have done that.
On After Dark as a normal thing.
I wish we would have done that at episode 151, because I feel like there's a lot more classic moments in 150 through 100 or 100 through 150.
Yeah, no, you say that, but it's fun to recap. It's fun to also recap while on Twitch, because of like we had a lot of our viewers, Jaws, Diz his red beard, Remy's round table, Rye guy, and everybody just kind of commenting on the episode. It's fun to take a walk down memory lane. And I think it's a really good segue, actually, into what we're going to be doing starting next week in No New Friends Reacts. Because tonight...
actually, if you listen to this episode right now, tonight at 10 p.m.
Oh, tonight.
If you're listening to this on Wednesday, when it comes out, 10 p.m. tonight.
And then look, we have even a newer listener of the podcast, Michael X, saying it was fun, just recapping. It's really good for people that haven't listened, that have listened, to take a walk down memory lane or to recap the episodes. Like, oh man, I got to listen to this one because he talked about this. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that it's really fun, me and you, and then whoever else is in here with us virtually, reacting to funny moments. And reacting, not just me and you, but with our community as well. And that's kind of what we are going to try to establish starting next week, as of tonight, November 1st, with No New Friends Reacts, is just us kind of just hanging out, laughing, making jokes, having that normal No New Friends banter, but also engaging with our community and having them laugh along with us. We both know... among everybody else watching, that life is tough, life is hard, and little escapes like No New Friends After Dark, little escapes like what we are trying to strive to be with No New Friends Reacts, are just great ways to end the night. After maybe a long work week, you're halfway through the work week, it's a Wednesday night, maybe you don't watch it till Friday, it's going to be up on YouTube, it's going to be up on Twitch for you to watch again. It's just a nice way to wind down at the end of the day and just laugh with friends. And that's I think really that's the ultimate goal of this, Scott. I think it's safe to say just laughing with friends, just having a good time.
Yeah, very well put.
And going viral and making a lot of money.
Exactly. That's the real motivation. Yeah. This is probably going to be a tough one, but I can't do summaries anymore. Do you have any Cliff's Notes?
Not tonight, Scott, but maybe we can look forward to that in the future. It was very hard, just me and you. But if the people listen, we do this for the people. If the people want Cliff Notes Part 2, I will do Cliff Notes Part 2 in the future.
Or maybe we call them, I don't know, short guys summaries. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll
scumbag summaries.
We'll just continue to call them. Maybe we'll just continue to call them Scott summaries.
And then maybe I'll leave the guy doing the intro. Here he is, the scumbag reselling hoarder himself, Chris.
Let's keep everything the same except for... Okay, so Michael X is saying, please do. So the people have spoken. Starting on our next After Dark, we will be doing the continuation of Scott Summaries, brought to you by me.
Yeah, look, this was fun.
Sorry, but they just said I have a name. Mark, you have 5 minutes.
I love doing recap episodes like this.
They're fun.
I had a lot of fun doing history time with you when we did that one. I like classic mashups. That's one of my favorite episodes where I put 4 of our classic segments. So I enjoy doing this, and it's the fitting time to do it at episode 201. We just had our 200th, so many great things to come. And
Absolutely.
if you or a loved one has been a victim of this podcast, please just join our Patreon, nonewfriendspodcast.com. Click on Join Clubhouse. No, seriously, thank you all for listening. We appreciate it. Thank you for sticking with us on Twitch and joining us each and every week. And next week we'll be on... Wow, I've channeled my inner you, and I'm now bad at outros.
It's hard, dude. It gets late, right?
No, this was super fun. Thank you all so much.
It was.
On behalf of Chris, I'm Scott. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Okay, bye.
On behalf of Chris, I'm Scott. Just in case you guys forgot. Oh, perfect. The ad break just started.
I don't know what to do. I lost my mojo.
Yeah, dude, it's hard.
Because I'm so routine on the other one.
I know, me too. That's exactly, you can see. I'm just reading the script you wrote.
Stop. There is no script that you wrote that I wrote you.
Now you're reading that same script.
Yeah, I'll figure out a witty little way to end this episode, but... No New Friends After Dark has been brought to you by Sandpiper Vacations. SandpiperVacations.com. Just check out our website, nonewfriendspodcast.com. Become a friend with benefits. Check out our sweet merch and so much more. This has been a No New Friends Entertainment LLC production.